Mm.
We did the practical announcements already, so we are
And fantastic.
Hi, Isaac. I would love to sit with
Hi,
you.
with pleasure. Let me pin your video. Good. There we are. Hmm. So it's just this space and these tiny movements that happen, and all is well.
Mm. And at the same time, these days, it's quite challenging for me, and upheavals of emotions and.
Yeah, but are you talking about this moment, or are you talking about now the
No.
past a little bit?
This is a little bit the past, how it works out these days. But right now, I'm here.
You just, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Isaac. Lovely to hang out.
Very, very well. Yeah, beautiful.
Hey, Isaac.
Okay, didn't he come back here?
I would love to hang out
Who's
with
that?
you. Esther.
Esther. Okay.
Hi. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Yeah, for me, it feels something wants to be met, and it's wherever it's looking, it doesn't find the information where it's longing for. So that's drives me mad. What do you experience?
It's like when I hear that perspective expressed, I understand it's, trying to put into words a feeling or a sensing of something. And to me, it feels there's nothing right with that perspective or wrong with that perspective. It's just that from the perspective of that perspective, there's no peace. And it looks to try and get something to get peace, but it's, it's like, yeah. Just missing the piece that's already here.
Yeah, I hear what you say, and I see also in a way it's not going area.
Yeah, so it's like resting here, and there's all these different sensations that come across the screen. We can't control those, they just happen. And they're appearing in something, we can't say what it is or where it is or anything about it, except that there's awareness of whatever arises, yeah? And oftentimes when there's a movement, you could say somehow there's an involvement in the movement, something kind of runs
what I
off to it.
noticed.
Okay. Yeah. So it's like, and it's inherently that's not wrong or bad, but as soon as that happens, there's a sense of being separate from totality. There's a sense of there's something wrong, and then our thinking tries to help always.
Yeah, I can
So
see
right
it's
here,
in a
right,
kind of identification still with the
yeah,
energy or the
and
movement or the trembling, and that's
and nobody's doing it. It's just one of these automatic things that happens, So. But in the seeing of it now, from this clarity of seeing, then there's a capacity, then there's a possibility, you could say, to rest, not to have to do anything. All the movements can happen. Breathing happens, thinking happens.
yeah, thinking. My mind loves to be busy.
And even to call it your mind, I mean, really, there is no such thing as a mind, there's just thinking. And we call that mind, but it's just thoughts.
So you say there's no mind?
Well, like the way, for me, mind is thought. If there's no thought, there's no mind.
And now I see more I come more in touch with the movements without,
Beautiful.
without an idea that it has to change or
Beautiful.
to be more quiet or better or not okay or whatever. It's small.
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
And it's scary, by the way.
I would say that's a label
What?
of the mind. I
That's
would
it?
say that's a label of the mind.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So it's just a label, that's all. This love affair with just keeping quiet now and now and now. Not moving with the movements, not trying to stop them, not trying to change them, not interpreting them, just resting. Yeah? Those movements can happen, they don't mean a thing. That the usual habit is to make them mean something, to think it means something, but it's just a habit. And nobody really does that. I guess it's just like somehow at some point there's just an interest in what's beyond all of that, that's ever present. Seems like otherwise we can spend lifetimes running after interpretations and ideas and thoughts and trying to get somewhere or try to achieve a certain state and missing what's here. Yeah?
Yeah, habits. Yeah, it's okay for now. I
Okay.
want to give some space for someone else.
Thanks, sister.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Hello, Isaac.
Where's, great.
Hello.
Hi, yeah.
Hello, darling. It's so nice to be here. So lovely. I'd just like to spend some time with you.
With pleasure.
So much movement, but it's so much easier to stay, getting easier to stay behind and underneath. And you keep flashing on and off my screen saying, Isaac's network bandwidth is low. And you keep going small and then big and then fuzzy. But such a habit, this blah blah. So funny, but I feel so much joy right now, and the connection with everyone is amazing. How quickly this nervous system just goes. It's like a sponge. Just when we all come online, and the whole body just goes, oh. So yeah, thank you.
Big love.
Oh, lots of love.
Hello, Isaac.
Hi, Monica.
I never know when it is the right moment to push the button. And this is perhaps just a thought. Wieso bin ich eigentlich so groß hier? I'm on my handy today because I'm
Okay, yeah.
at the office. And I don't see it at the moment.
Oh,
I at first want to connect with you, and then we will see.
okay.
But you are so little in the background.
If you click on if you click on my picture, then you get a little sign that says you can pin that.
Okay.
Try that and see if it helps. Yeah. Does it help?
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
I want to tell something also for the others, and perhaps you can say something to that. Can you hear me good?
I hear you perfect.
Okay. What I what I noticed is that the nervous system becomes more and more sensitive. When I go, for example, at Facebook, and there are, wie heißt das, Nachrichten, news, yeah, from something is not so well at the world at the moment, then it is like an impact, an imprint in my nervous system. And sometimes then is the feeling I go under the wave, you know, under the wave, under the water.
Yeah.
And the feeling is it's hard to ertragen, to bear. Yeah. And then it takes a little time, sometimes faster, sometimes longer, and then it's calm and the peace is there. But yeah, I have the impression that it's so sensitive, the nervous system, you know, and
For sure.
a little bit to be careful with my nervous system and not to get overwhelmed from all news and all imprints, because when I go in the negative, that doesn't help no one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. You know, I mean, if you look at it, you know, for however long people have been around, we never had the internet, and we had, you know, newspapers is also something fairly recent. Before, you know, you were living on the farm, growing your vegetables, and, you know, you heard news from your neighbors. They would talk about what was going on, maybe. We didn't get overwhelmed with information all the time. Yeah?
And my question is for you as a non-dualistic person, not person, being, or is this also that the nervous system is so sensitive, or is the most time the real being, peace, or whatever there is there, you know, not this pendling.
Yeah. You know, somehow there's not so much energy around living and dying anymore.
Mm.
So the news of we're going to die any second, or that doesn't trouble. But for this system, I could say, when it sees all the dishonesty and the corruption that's going on, and the, you know, the stupidity, you could say, of sometimes that produces some movements, but also there I see, look, it's it's just a perspective. It's not worth really believing in it much here. It's just it's like if you're watching a movie and, you know, everybody in the movie is acting, and you see someone and you can see they're acting in a way where they're going to get killed or something, and you don't scream at the movie, at the television, careful, you're going to get killed. You just, you know, it's a movie, yeah. So yeah, it's like this funny movie called Life that we have here, you know, like all this, what seems so important. But we don't have it. We really don't know. And yes, I know what you mean. Yeah, for sure. You know, it's like the system gets more. It just notices the movements deeper and senses and feels. But then just to watch those movements happen, and we can think it happens to me, or it means something about me, or otherwise it's just movements. Just. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not at the point that everything is cinema
But you see, even this idea that you're not at the point is just a thought.
Yeah, sure.
Isn't it? Yeah, it's just another thought. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And with that thought, then there's a sense of me, you know, I that's not somewhere or somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, for this system here, what is sitting there, perhaps it's like a pendling from this greater, not perspective, greater seeing. I don't know.
Knowing.
Right term.
Yeah.
Knowing.
Yeah. Yeah, knowing or
and
seeing. Yeah,
and the
yeah.
and the neural and the neural and the nervous
Yeah,
system is
yeah.
on the hand.
Doing its dance. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, good. Oh. This is what I do with my patients. One colleague told me, "Hey, what's going on in your therapy? You are so much laughing with the patients, or not? My patients are crying and so on, and you are laughing with the patients, and that's true. When you can
Oh, wait.
let go this, then there's much of laughing. Okay,
Yeah, 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 of course.
sorry,
Yeah,
no problem.
yeah,
And the problem is also a perspective. The
exactly.
problem that there is a problem is
Yeah.
a perspective.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
And I
I
must
love
laugh
that
so
sound.
much.
It's beautiful. Mm.
Good. Mm. Mm.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Isaac. Much
you.
love.
Mm. Yeah, and to you.
Good.
Hi, Isaac.
You
Hi,
see
everybody.
which is
Jennifer.
who's Jennifer. Beautiful. I just got to find. Ah, now I see you there.
It's kind of dark.
Hi, Jennifer. No
Hi,
worries. I
Isaac.
see you.
Good to see you. I just want to rest with you a minute.
How beautiful.
Sorry, ich muss.
Can you speak for a second, Isaac? Because I can't see you now.
Okay. Is that better? Did it help the video come on the
Yeah.
screen?
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
feels so good to connect with you. It feels like all those movements, my system has, you know, many times tried to control them, I guess you want to say. And it just feels like it's starting to be able to rest a little more in just
How
letting it
beautiful.
flow.
That's a beautiful distinction. That is such a beautiful distinction. Yeah. Just that
Because it just
resting.
felt like something was frozen and cut off. And then when the system can rest, it flows, but I'm more sensitive to knowing when it's cut off and feeling like, oh. What is your sense?
It's like the words that come are just like this resting. It's in a way there's a shift to just trust beingness rather than the thinking. Just recognizing that beingness is just, we don't have to effort, we don't have to try and control anything. We can just rest. And, yeah. Something relaxes and the whole system can just relax.
And then something just tickles my whole vibration here. Thank you, Isaac.
Love, love, and more love.
Love, love, and more love. It's so beautiful to be with you and everyone. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Isaac,
Mm.
hey.
Hi.
I have a bit of a shock in my body.
Okay.
I
Reporting.
I traveled this morning from Bali to Central Java, and I realized this morning that somebody hacked my credit card. And
yeah.
it's just a story. It's just €2,000.
No, I understand. No, I understand. It's yeah.
And I just have.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure whether usually the credit card company should pay you that money back. I believe, anyway.
Yeah, there is an insurance, and I have it now shut down. But it's just there's so much. It's just a shock because I wanted to stay longer.
Mm.
There's so much like the waves to it, and now I don't have a credit card anymore. So I now have to go back, and I don't have a credit card. I think I know everything will work out, and it just have a shock in my body.
So just take a moment and let's be present with the shock. I understand, of course, on the human level, those shocks happen.
I could just feel how the fear entered my belly.
Yeah, and just letting it. There's a noticing of it. It doesn't mean anything about you. It's just what the system does, yeah? If it was up to you, it wouldn't be happening. So you just notice that somehow that's happening and you just rest, yeah? You just let it, and that's good. Just let that shaking happen. It's okay. It's a shock, like you say. You're correct. You see it. Yeah. And when from the perspective of the shock, it's hard to think clearly. So just letting the system calm down, and then you can look to see what your direction is. Maybe there's someone that can lend you money. Maybe there's a practical thing. Someone can wire you money or whatever. You'll figure out. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to go. You just see. At first, let that shock quieten down. It is a shock. Yeah, it's okay. Thank you for bringing it. And we just rest here, just feeling how the system deals with shock. When there's a shock, it doesn't mean anything. It's just a shock.
There's just so much stress coming up immediately, like wanting to take care of everything and make it all right again. And
yeah, I understand. And you can see it just does that. That's the certain aspect that just does it like that. Yeah. There's also a knowing all is well. And so just allowing that movement into, you could say, like an existential, how do I solve this? How do I survive this? What do I need to do? The practical thing, just slowing it down. It's okay. You have time.
The worst thing feels like
you have a place to sleep tonight?
Yes.
And you have food in your belly?
Not really. But that can be solved.
Okay. Yeah. So, yeah. Just it's okay
it's
that a shock happens.
Also the realization that this might make me go back now and not in 10 days.
Yeah.
I think that's another shock, because I don't want to go back.
I understand. So you'll see. Once your system has a chance to calm down, you'll see how it wants to move, And I mean, if you have to go back, you have to go back, but you'll see.
Yeah.
Right now, all you know is that there's an opportunity just to be present and watch what happens when the shock happens.
Yeah, the thoughts are, it's like a little bit like something entered my system, or, at least my money system.
Yeah.
They just enter my money system and take the money out. What? It's not nice.
No, I understand. Yeah.
And then I just keep telling myself it's only money. Maybe you get it back. And even if not, I'm alive, you know?
Yeah. But at the same time, you know, that's the way your system is trying to calm itself down, which is wonderful. It wants to calm itself down. You know, like the money is not there right now, but you don't have to lose peace because of it. And, if you have to lose money or peace, it's clear money is nothing. Yeah, but you know, you look and you sound like a very practical person, and when your system is good, you'll do whatever's necessary. So for now, just feeling this. Suddenly there's activation and thinking wants to solve it, and the whole system gets speeded up, and it's just what happens when there's a shock. Yeah, same in me as in you and everybody.
I'm so happy I can be here now. I wanted to meet you, but I was so disorganized I couldn't, and Eva invited me in.
Happy she did. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. A long time we didn't meet. So I'm really happy to see you.
Yeah, beautiful. And just resting, just taking a moment. It's okay.
It's funny because the last 2 days I was really happy. Like these 2 days when these guys just took my money out of my bank account, I was really happy. And everybody told me, you're so kind, you're such a kind person. And now I start judging, you know, like maybe I was too open, you know, maybe I was too open. So
Yeah, so you can see that's just thoughts coming,
yeah.
Yeah, don't believe a single thought if possible. Do you have a feeling your system was calming down a little bit? How beautiful. How quick it responds, huh?
I receive your love and your kindness.
Yeah. Yeah, beautiful. Just watching the different waves as they come up. It's okay. You can't control that. It comes by itself and it'll leave by itself.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Yeah, so many voices in my head telling me so many stories.
Yeah. All trying to help and all crazy.
All trying to make something up for me, to handle this existence.
Yeah.
Trying to be happy as much as possible, please. Yeah. But you're so right, we can't control it. I feel like I'm really trying so hard to be happy. Yeah.
One good thing about trying so hard is you'll get exhausted, and at some point you'll have to take rest.
Yes. Absolutely. Oh. I was so happy here. It feels so much I found home. And now I have to go back where I'm not home anymore. And still.
But you can see that's a thought at this moment. You don't know that yet.
No, I know nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. A good opportunity to watch how the mind works and how, just. Yeah.
At least I start to feel my hands.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. I want to make space for somebody else.
Thanks for including yourself and just inviting presence with this that's going on.
I appreciate so much your loving presence. You smiling at me. It's going to be all right.
Yeah, it is all right.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, thank you.
Yeah.
I would like to look at something, Isaac, with you.
With pleasure.
And it's about being worried as a mom.
Mm.
Yeah. And it's Benjamin will finish school this year, and he has exams. And how it plays out is that he's really a lot ill with headaches and and at the
Just
same time,
stop for a moment.
yeah,
Just stop for a moment, just here right now, and just sensing like there's an organization in your nervous system, and you know, you could see your attention is focused in a certain way, and it's familiar, and there's a certain identity that goes with it. And you can see it's an automatic, yeah? It's not something you decide or you choose or anything like that. It's just it's an orientation. Old friend. Can probably find it on both sides of your ancestral lineage. It's way more common than it's not, you could say. So it's a certain orientation. Yeah? And familiar, very familiar.
mm-hmm.
And there's no need to change anything or fix anything. It's just a noticing. Yeah? Just a noticing. There's that orientation. And then the attention can go to the experience that happens from that orientation, or it can go to what's aware of it. Yeah.
Can you say that again?
Yeah, it can either get very involved in its perspective or trying to change its perspective, or it can just be interested in or recognizing that there's awareness of whatever's going on. They're ready. Yeah. Right here, right now. This awareness is here. And clearly, you know, it's like Benjamin, that expression called Benjamin. Well, you know, it's like it's life is happening and can't control it, can't do really much with it. It's going to do what it's going to do. And what you know is that there's love. And in any way that you can support, you will.
Yeah.
Within
Yeah,
within what's true for you, or within what's authentic for you, within, you know, where it doesn't step up your boundaries or whatever. So you know that.
Yeah, and there's always the idea, do I support him enough, or no, what?
Yeah.
It's somehow trying to manage him so that I can feel better.
Yeah. So you can see that, yeah. And you can see that that orientation is not honest.
Yeah, and it's really very subtle also sometimes.
But you see it. You do see it. And, you know, like if somehow that thought of, am I doing it right, or anything like that, you know, it comes, but if it somehow gets believed in, and instead of resting just as awareness, that thought gets followed and it gets chewed on and believed or identified with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then there's a mess. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that can only happen unconsciously. Consciously, that would never happen. Consciously, it's lovely just to rest as loving presence. Yeah? No right way, no wrong way. Just resting. You don't know what's Benjamin. You don't know.
No, I don't know.
Someone getting softer a little bit.
Yeah, softer and relaxer, more relaxed.
Yeah, yeah, how beautiful.
Thank you, Isaac.
You're so welcome.
Mhm.
Hi, Isaac. Satyam.
Satyam.
There's a there's that effort of keeping, it seems like, the attention in awareness. It's like there's that sense of doing that, or
Mm.
and it's very tiring actually.
Mm. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's wanting to be one with it.
I understand. Yeah.
Because I've tasted so much of this and I can sense it.
And you know, the fact that you can speak this means that you're aware of it, yeah? That there's awareness of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know this, but there's this movement happening.
Yeah. And you know, if you look at what the sages say, you know, they say it takes tremendous effort. And that
Yeah.
they also say don't make any effort. So it's kind of
Yeah,
confusing in a
always.
way.
And then the thought that I don't want to miss this lifetime, you know, because it came by
I
grace
understand,
and meeting
yeah.
you in my life, and
Mm.
it's all such grace, you know. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
and my gratitude to all the people who have played this is tremendous, you know.
Yeah.
This nectar doesn't come, you know, just like that. It's really divine will, or whatever you want to call it. I think there's a video of Ramana where he is reading the newspaper and his head is moving, and I can sense that there's something within him is not moving. I can sense that, you know. Can feel it.
Yeah. I don't know if you've heard the story. Someone asked Ramana once, why does your head shake like that?
I remember you
And
talking.
and he said, a hut is never the same after an elephant's been inside. Yeah. So, you know, it's like that quietness or that what's not moving is always here. It's just, it's not always noticed, that's all.
Yeah.
And so the thing is, you know, like there is a momentum to the movements. And so those movements, they can happen. The mistake that gets made is trying to stop the movements rather than just resting. Movements happen, but something is unmoving, even when movements are happening. Something is silent, even when there's sound. The sound is happening in silence. Yeah? So there's a motion, let it, it's no problem. It's beautiful. Let it do its thing.
there's that, the system is sensing, or whatever term you want to use. I can sense in you that this, which is not moving, and just, and on the surface it brings a lot of, it's like a storm of tears, and because
Of course, it is like that. You just let it. It's okay. Yeah.
sometimes it's like this, not never going to end, this whole stream. Oh my God. Thank you, Isaac, for just being here.
Yeah, it's a privilege. It's a privilege and a pleasure.
Yeah, so grateful that you are here and
Yeah.
being in my
Be in this, to be in this where there's this interest is so lucky, such grace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isaac, hi,
Mm.
it's me.
1
Nika,
second.
can you hear me?
Nika, I
Yes,
can hear
hello.
you perfectly. I just got to find, I'm just looking for you on the screen. Now I found you.
I
Good.
don't, somewhere. Can we just sit
Now I
in
got you.
silence? Can we just sit for a
With pleasure.
second?
With absolute pleasure. Yeah. No, thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's so unusual to rest beyond experience, beyond any idea, beyond the, any movement. You know, movements are happening, but just the resting as that which is beyond all of it. So rare, and yet so simple and so profound. It's yeah. Thanks, Nick.
Hi, Isaac.
Mm.
Can you hear me?
I hear you perfect.
Yes.
I hear you perfect.
Okay. Would like to sit with you for a few moments.
So welcome.
So it is all about being in all the sensations.
Yeah, sensations. You know, that's in a sense that's what this life is. It's just the opportunity to experience sensation.
Yes, but not only experience, but not go with them.
Not go with them. Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
Yes. That is always the opportunity.
Absolutely.
But it's not so easy to live that always.
I don't know if that's true. Because then it sounds like there's someone that could do that or not do it.
Yes, that's the body and the mind going with that.
Yeah.
But when there is stress in the body, it's a little bit difficult. No?
Yeah. Again, it's like, I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure that it's helpful to have that perspective even. There's a noticing that in the past it has been like that.
Mm-hmm.
But not to make it a...
Okay, yes. So it's always new and fresh.
Yeah, exactly. Like resting here right now, it doesn't feel like there's any effort involved whatsoever. There's just a natural, beautiful, deep resting.
True.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm. Thank you so much. Mm.
Isaac?
Eva.
Thank you.
Mm. Thank you.
And then there's now the tendency to say something, or like the like how is it for you, or how are you? It's a kind of like a way of connecting, while we're actually already were connected. But yeah.
Exactly, and it's beautiful. It's seen, you know. It's totally fine. It's these familiar movements, yeah. And then underneath that depth of meeting that's beyond everything, beyond space and time, beyond everything.
Yeah, it is like that. Like then it goes to that, oh, the system Eva, the system Isaac, and all those. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Good.
Isaac? Now.
Who's that?
Now?
Sorry, say again. Nell.
Yeah.
Ah, beautiful. Just, hi, Nell.
Thank you.
Such a privilege and a pleasure. Ah.
Hey, Isaac.
Ah, Gunnar.
Hey. Feels exciting to unmute. So. Yeah, the strong heartbeat. Yeah, I noticed kind of a rush to say something or to bring what I wanted to bring. But I still feel kind of rushed and don't know if that's the place to bring it. So that's also like trying to do it right.
You can't make a mistake.
Yeah. So actually, why I joined the meeting is was that. Yeah, I was just thinking about you lately, often lately, and just seeing a lot of horrible pictures about Australia and how all the fires and stuff, and I was just wondering how you are and how you're feeling about this.
You know, where we are, it's paradise. I mean, it's actually quite amazing. But yeah, the devastation across Australia is unbelievable, and the government is absolutely corrupt. But it's really coming, into view, you could say.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So do you personally feel threatened? Or, I mean, you say it's paradise,
No,
but
I mean,
does it feel close by? Or?
The fires were about 20 kilometers away from my home, 18, 20 kilometers. So And you know, some days there were people that were working on the land, and you know they were watching the fires on their phones and stuff because they've got these apps where it tells you. And on one day, everybody quickly went home to go and grab their passports, and everyone had a bag packed in certain areas. You know, just my neighbors, so to speak, because the fire could take their homes. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's a trip. But it's you know what, for me it's like where I live, we live on rainwater, and so for the first time in 20 years we ran out of water from rainwater, but we have the capacity to have backup. So it wasn't that serious, but it's got me thinking to putting in another 60,000 liters of the tank, just to, because it does rain, you know, the tanks fill up and then a lot of it just overflows. So it'd be better to catch it.
Yeah.
But you know, it's like, it's just this funny life here. We have no idea. We can see how the trajectory, you could say, of a certain paradigm is not life-sustaining. But we can also see that at the same time, it's also opened up these discoveries of AI and all this other stuff that's going on parallel, that I think 20 years from now, if we survive as a species, it'll be a very different species than what's going on now. So I don't have a clue. I just, you know, it's like, yes, of course I'm aware of, you could say, a level of consciousness that is so totally self-obsessed and short-term and not able to see past that. And then there's so much else happening.
Yeah.
When
like
we
also
rest
people
together, like, yeah.
Speak.
When we rest in the depths like this, we just rest in that deep well of quietness. From that recognition, you know, life and death, and it's like there's something untouched that never goes anywhere, that wasn't born and won't die.
Yeah, I just see that it kind of somehow I notice in myself around all this, like more like a standing up, like standing up for myself or standing up for what feels right.
Oh,
So
beautiful.
and so
Yeah.
also, yeah, also it also kind of is more like, I don't know, it feels more connecting or something on us in some way. I feel like even if we all die, so to say, like, then somehow, like, it feels at this moment, it feels like it's more connecting. It's kind of, yeah,
I get it.
I don't
I
know how to
understand.
really
I
speak
really
it.
understand. Yeah, you know, when you consider that the majority of expressions of totality called people live in complete collapse or overwhelm, that standing up is so healthy, so
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
yeah.
And then there's a standing up, and then at the same time in that standing up, such a deep, the capacity to rest so deeply in the truth of who you are.
Yeah. Yeah, it also feels like, I don't know if we are all gonna die and how long it will take, but it's kind of, at this moment I can be here, so it really feels like, it feels more alive in the moment somehow. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And to me it also has to do with standing up, that kind of brings this aliveness. And I noticed what you mean with the resting, yeah. And kind of like this, I noticed this kind of resting and also the standing up, like the action or something.
Yeah, yeah.
And it
Beautiful.
feels more alive.
Beautiful description.
Yeah, and there's also kind of touch, and there's a fierceness, and yeah, just aliveness. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and what I said in the beginning, I mean, just thinking about you sometimes and just thinking about a friend and like, hey, how are you doing? And then it felt like maybe this is the opportunity to know this, yeah, to get to know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice to see you.
Exquisite. Thanks for tuning in
Yeah.
and connecting.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi, Isaac. Satyam again. There's a friend of mine which I'm getting to know her slowly. She is right now in Brazil and she has this interest and she wanted to join your meeting, but she doesn't speak English at all. So, and then I said that it doesn't really need, but she has this deep interest. So she's right now on the phone watching you.
Oh,
So
beautiful.
I'm gonna just, show her too because, yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
how beautiful.
Yeah. She has this deep interest, and then I said, you don't need language, so next time she will probably join. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you say hello in her language?
Tudo bem.
Tudo bem.
Tudo bem. Yeah. Thank you, Isaac. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Thank you all for showing up. Right. Thanks,
Thank you,
Ava.
thank you, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye all.
Hi all. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here.